Project monitoring. This is the fourth phase in our cycle, and we look at the elements and the processes for project monitoring, baseline data, information management, and monitoring of indicators. Monitoring is, as we define, the routine collection and analysis of information in order to track progress. We use it to check compliance and make informed decisions for project management, and we focus on what's being done and how it is being done. So, look at monitoring is primarily about comparing what was originally planned and what actually happens, because out of that we can identify problems. And once we identify problems, we can analyze the causes of the problem and determine appropriate courses of remedial action on time. The idea is that we are planning something, we do the work, we see if there are any differences, and then we analyze the causes for those changes and we make corrective actions. Let's look at an example that we learned at the end of the project, that 64% of project staff have obtained a certification after completing training. Even though it might seem a good number, but we need to know how this compares to what was planned so we can make a good assessment. The plan says that we had to have 1,000 people obtaining the certification, but all the resources and costs that were original budget have already been spent. This will indicate that we had a problem with either the performance or the original plan or the budget. But what is important is that we need to be able to monitor and track those indicators before the project closes, and then it's too late. Let's look again at our example where we have a simple matrix where we have a specific output. We need to have a target of 1,000 people trained, and we look at what happens on period 3. So in period 3, we plan to train 50%, but the results show that only 400 completed the training, 40%. And out of those 400, we learned later that 80% passed the certification test. Again, it might seem a good number, 80% passing the certification test, but look at the trends about how many people are completing the training. If those trends continue, then that means that at the end of the project, only 800 people will have completed the training. And if the rate is that only 80% pass the test, at the end we only have 640 people that have passed the certification test, which again shows us that we are having a problem. Because we still have time in the project, we have an opportunity to look at what is causing that, why people are not completing the training, and why people are having difficulties on passing the test, so we can make corrective actions and make the changes needed to improve those numbers. One important number we need to do that is the baseline data. Baseline data is the basic information gathered before the project begins, and we use it to provide a comparison and assessing for the net effect of the project. So we look at the data that we have in the different areas, and the baseline data help us start how we're making progress on the project and how eventually the project is moving and creating a change compared with other projects that don't have any certified staff. So the baseline data creates the line where we need to start moving. Information management is also the element that helps us manage the collection and management of information from one or more sources and the distribution of information to one or more audiences. The key concept behind all of that is that we need to have the right information to the right people at the right time, and that is the purpose of information management. It's not necessarily the use of expensive equipment, but how we make sure that the whole process is something that helps us achieve that objective of getting the right information to the right people at the right time. One key element of information management is the information management life cycle. That goes from the definition, the location, selection, collection, the organization. We analyze, report, and use and evaluate information. And then we look at monitoring key indicators in the project. And an indicator is a variable that measures one aspect of the project that's directly related to the program objectives. And also, it's also a variable whose value changes from the baseline level to a new value after the project and its activities have made their impact. These two elements are critical components that will look at how we select and how we use indicators to monitor the performance of our project.